Alright guys, and welcome to another video. Today I've got some really big news on the Fresh Classic server scene. Blizzard have essentially given a little bit of a sneaky preview of the changes that they want to make in Fresh Classic, and they are very exciting indeed. So first of all, they're calling this Fresh Classic server the Season of Mastery, because what they're going to do is have a much faster content release. They are basically making seasonal realms, which is something that I've been massively wanting for a very long time, and I've talked about a lot on this channel. So all of the content in Classic WoW, instead of releasing over the course of 2 years, is going to release over 1 year. For old content that players have, a lot of knowledge about, this is definitely more suitable in my opinion, because with a server releasing content this fast, there'll be near no content drought. So it's nice that Blizzard have actually listened to feedback about this, because this is an absolute godsend. You don't want to be farming a raid for about a month, even though you've got all the loot from that raid. So this is great. What probably also needs to happen that we haven't talked about is the loot chance, or the loot tables have to be increased, right? More loot has to drop. And the content will release in 6 phases, largely exactly the same as I did in the original Classic. However, PvP and the Honor system is going to release on launch, and I think that's another great thing, because that period of insane, stupid world PvP definitely made a lot of people quit, because it was extremely frustrating not being able to go out in the open world and actually finish off leveling without getting ganked all the time. And the leveling itself is going to be faster, so what they've said is it's going to be more akin to how the Burning Crusade leveling is. So let me explain how TBC leveling is different to Classic leveling. Basically, you've got 30% less experience required to get to level 60, or level 70 in the case of TBC, and then also the quests will give 30% more experience points. But there won't be the extra quests that are added in TBC, however there will be more elite quests which will grant extra XP, so it's going to be interesting how that will turn out, because obviously the elite quests were nerfed in TBC, but they're going to stay in Classic WoW, so we're going to have the elite quests in Classic WoW give a bucket load of experience points. Now, I'm not sure how this affects, the amount of experience you get from dungeon kills, but what I do remember is when we were playing the beta, we were farming ramparts and stuff, and it was just taking ages to actually gain experience points. And then they introduced a patch which changed the experience rates of mobs from Classic WoW to TBC, which would mean that there is a slight increase to experience points, per mob killed in a dungeon. From memory, there is some kind of formula that works out the amount of experience you gain from your level and the mob's level, so I definitely think, grinding dungeons, the XP from that will increase. Now let's go through all the great raid changes. So world buffs are totally inactive and unusable in a instanced raid. Now this is interesting because it may change which class is the top dog DPS by the end of Classic WoW, because obviously it was warriors in the original Classic WoW, but stacking warriors might not become the meta anymore. They're also going to totally remove the debuff limit, okay, and I think this will be interesting because it will make meme specs more viable, like Enhancement Shaman and Feral, because they can put up all their bleeds, and they can put up, Storm Strike, the little debuff they put up. And I was talking a little bit about this with my friend last night. It may also make the Affliction Warlock more powerful, or more viable, maybe even more powerful than Destruction, but again it remains to be seen, because obviously in Destruction you will get threat capped. If you crit Shadow Bolt twice in a row, you have to stop casting Shadow Bolts, but maybe Affliction will not get threat capped, which means maybe Affliction Warlock will become more powerful, because they can, essentially they're allowed to apply all of their dots. Warlocks will also be allowed to use Immolate, okay, obviously in the later raid tiers when the mobs are immune to fire, so maybe a flag build will become more viable. I think Warlocks will be an interesting one to look at, how the viability changes, because obviously they're, the big debuff class. Or what I've said might be total Codswallop and they just stay exactly the same and go DS Ruin. We also said that they're going to be restoring old mechanics that were removed. Now I did some digging into the deep recesses of 2005 internet, and I couldn't find any info on how the boss mechanics actually changed in Classic WoW, so this will be interesting to see what they actually do. Obviously Blizzard probably have the data that we don't have readily available on the internet, because even like when private servers were making their vanilla servers, they didn't have the information, had to largely, you know, use guesswork. And also bosses will have increased health, because obviously, you know, we're going to be much more powerful with an unlimited debuff limit, so, you know, the bosses will need more HP. We're also going to add some more quality of life changes. For instance, meeting stones will be converted into summoning stones. I just can't wait for that to happen. And then also increasing mining and herbalism nodes, which is obviously a no-brainer when they increase the population cap of each individual server. So this will basically definitely improve the economy quite a lot. And, you know, things like Black Lotuses will probably not be as rare, which means the cost of flasks will probably reduce a little bit, making them, you know, more affordable to the average player. And hopefully, you know, the average, you know, cost for raid consumables won't be as extortionate as it was in the original Classic WoW, because obviously, you know, one of the problems and one of the things that made people quit is the fact that they have to spend hours and hours farming gold to then, you know, do the raid. Blizzard have also made a separate post looking at Mage Boosts, okay? They've basically said that they want to do something about, you know, nerfing Mage Boosts, like particular hotspots like Maradon. Hopefully they will just totally remove the, you know, ability to boost your characters, you know, with mages, because obviously it didn't really encompass the spirit of Classic WoW, and it also kind of ruined the economy. And if I actually went back to, you know, playing Classic WoW, if I did play on this server, I probably would try out playing a mage. So knowing my luck, they will just totally nerf all the mage farms when it is released. So overall, guys, this is incredibly good news. A lot of the things that I've, you know, talked about in this video, I definitely think should have actually happened in original Classic WoW, but oh well. Obviously, what I'm hoping for in the future is they do this for the Burning Crusade, and when Wrath of the Lich King does release, they do this Season of Mastery concept immediately when Wrath of the Lich King is released, and have Wrath of the Lich King released on a 1-year schedule, because that'll be awesome. Because the faster I can play Cataclysm rated Battlegrounds again on my Unholy Death Knight, the better. Not gonna lie. But anyway, my name is MetaGoblin. Until my next video, ciao.